Right, YouTube. Stop writing in cafes, guys. Stop doing it. Now, why am I saying this? This is mainly geared up towards people who want to be authors. So you're writing a long manuscript, at least 70,000 words, some well over 100,000 words. This video is for people like you. So if you're someone who likes to work in a cafe remotely, maybe you're doing some copywriting, maybe you're doing something completely different, that's totally fair enough. I get it. If you're someone who doesn't really have an office to go to, but you can go to a cafe, have a few coffees, be around people, I totally understand. That's all well and good. If you're a writer and you're trying to write a manuscript, and more importantly, you're trying to edit your manuscript to make it as good as possible, I don't think you should be doing it in cafes. I really don't. And why is that? Well, I wrote most of my first draft of my upcoming debut novel, THG. I won't go into the title, but it stands for THG. Anyway, I wrote the first draft basically pretty much in a coffee shop. So, long story short, I'm a full-time writer now, but before then I was working full-time in finance in London, and that was great. You know, it wasn't too taxing. It wasn't like I was getting out of the office at midnight, far from it. So in the evenings after work, I could then go to Foyles Cafe in London, shout out, and the cafe was open till about 8 p.m. So I'd go straight from work, rush over to Foyles, work there until they threw me out, and I'd go home and do a bit more work. But most of my work I'd get done on the manuscript was in that Foyles Cafe. So I thought, yeah, I think writing in cafes is okay, clearly, because I wrote nearly 80,000 words, not all of it in Foyles Cafe, but especially towards the end. I was in there quite a lot most evenings, most weekends as well, just working away. So don't get me wrong, it did work for a while, but, and here's the but, I went to review the manuscript thinking in my head it was done, because I'd spent so much time on it, because I read bits back and I thought, oh, this is all right, I'm happy with this. It was only when I was in the peace and quiet of the flat I'm in now, so I moved just recently, because I wanted a really good writing setup so I could pursue the writing full time. And it's only when I was sat here and I thought, I'll read through the manuscript one more time in the peace and quiet of my own home. And I started reading it and I thought, this is not the same manuscript that I had written when I was sat in Foyles Cafe. Surely not. It can't be. It just read different. Frankly, in my head, for my standards that I hold for myself, it just wasn't good enough, like at all, far from it. The goal as a writer, in my opinion, if you're writing a book, you want it to be read by people, you want it to be enjoyed by people, as many people as possible. So it has to hit a certain standard at the very least. Otherwise, no one's going to touch it. No one's going to read it. Agents aren't going to want to represent you. Publishers aren't going to want to publish it. It's just no way. It has to be a certain minimum standard. And once you get to that threshold, then you can push on. But I was reading it in this flat out loud, and I was just like, no good. It just was terrible. I was reading it from the perspective of a reader, not as someone who'd written it, and I just knew, no, this whole thing needs to be gone through from top to bottom. I need to change it. And so I did that, but I did it here in this flat. I haven't edited it once in a cafe. I haven't been back to Foyles. I haven't been to any cafes to edit. I've popped out to a cafe maybe once, twice, but not to work on the manuscript. That was just general, get me out the house and let me get a coffee or a tea. So I stopped working in cafes and I traded that for the seclusion, isolation, whatever you want to call it, of a quiet, albeit very nice flat in central London. And the quality of the work is a different book. It's a completely different book. And I don't know what it was about working in the cafe, even though at the time I was enjoying it. I had my coffee and there were people around me and it was quite a nice environment. And there's people around you, it's social, you know. Writing's a lonely gig. It's so lonely. You're just in your head all the time. And then you're typing it out and hoping people are going to enjoy it. But there's no guarantee. And you're like that for days, weeks, months at a time until the work is done. So a cafe environment, I get it, it's social. J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter in a cafe. Several cafes all over Scotland, apparently. So it's good enough for J.K., it's more than good enough for unpublished guys and girls. But from my personal experience, you're not going to take your manuscript to the next level unless you can read it out loud. Can't do that in a cafe. From start to finish, and you can work on it to a routine every single day. These are things I don't think you can, in my opinion, do working in a cafe. So look, it's a nice idea, don't get me wrong. You can sit there with a coffee or a tea, looking cool, looking trendy, and everyone's like, ooh, what are they working on? Oh, I bet that's great. And you're looking with focus at your screen like... But in my experience, it doesn't produce outstanding work. For outstanding work to the next level, you need privacy, you need seclusion, and you need to be left alone with your thoughts to get them down on a piece of paper, on a Google Doc, however you work. You need to get it down properly, and you need to be absorbed in your work. You cannot be absorbed in your work 100% when you've got people milling around you, coffees, teas, chit chat over here, chit chat over there, and you're like, okay, I'll put my headphones in, put some music on. Try working in silence. Try working in total silence as a writer and see how you get on. Just try it. Everyone's routine's different. Look, this video isn't about knocking people for their routines, like far from it. Every writer's got their own way of doing things, and I respect every single method and every single way of doing things. But I think, from my experience, trading that noisy cafe, where I've got my headphones in and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling great, I'm writing, I'm feeling good, but the reality, the cold light of day, when it's just you on your own, in silence, here in this flat, for example, and you're reading it back, the reality is different. You want to polish your manuscript and you want to make it a professional piece of work. In my opinion, that's done in places like this. Quiet places, secluded places, where you're left to your own devices. Rant over. Writers, try it. If you're someone who habitually works in coffee shops and you love it, and look, fair enough, and you're working on a manuscript, try, and even try no music, just try it. On your own, by yourself, somewhere quiet, in a flat. Look, my living situation didn't always look like this, that's for sure, and I hated being where I was, and I wanted to write, I wanted to get out of the flat, or get out of wherever I was living. So I went to coffee shops for that reason. But give it a try, somewhere quiet and peaceful where you can work. Maybe even a library, something like that, where it's just totally quiet and no one's running around you, just distracting you. You can't be absorbed in your work. It's an art. Da Vinci didn't paint at Foyles. Yeah, Da Vinci didn't paint in Foyles. Look, all the greats do it this way. Lee Child, he does it in silence. Ken Follett, the same. He'll write in silence. He's got his setup. These people can work from anywhere, but when they do work, it's quiet. It's peaceful. And they can be left alone to their own devices. Look, that's all I'm going to say. Quick video, quick update. But all I can tell you is the quality of my manuscript, it's gone from here to, just flown in quality. I can see it already. It's just, my mind boggles. Try it. Try it for a week. Write your manuscript or edit your manuscript, somewhere quiet and peaceful, preferably at home if you've got a nice setup. If not, anywhere else will do. Just get away from the cafes. Amateurs work in cafes. You're a professional. You want to get paid for your writing. You want to live the life you want to live, and you want to do it through your writing. Do it as a professional, because that's how you get paid. Anyway, that's all I've got to say. Peace out. Lots of love.